This is the story of Samuel and how he received his call to be the new high priest of the chosen people. The current high priest, Eli, has gotten on in years and nearly blind. This retelling has been moved forward in time a little bit, but it's still in ancient times, back when phones were all connected with wires, and before man had even conceived the idea of caller ID. Samuel and Eli have rooms in separate areas of the temple. Both are asleep. It's very late. The phone rings. Hello? Samuel? Samuel? Samuel's still half asleep, doesn't know what to say. The line goes dead. That sounded like Eli. Why would he call me in the middle of the night? I'd better see what he wants. Make sure everything's okay. Let's see, I can call Eli on the inner office phone and say dial 7 and 4-digit number, I think. That's how I... This is Eli. Why would you call me in the middle of the night and disturb an old man? Do you know how hard it is to get to sleep at my age? No, I didn't call you. Now go back to sleep. So this happens 2 more times. Samuel gets a call, thinks it's Eli. Samuel disturbs Eli's sleep, gets an earful. Fortunately, Eli is patient enough that on the 3rd call, Eli advises, the next time you get a call, ask them for their number and call them back. That way you'll know it's a legitimate call. Well, I hope it's not long distance. I'm not paying for a long distance call. Maybe I can reverse the charges. No matter. Oh, one thing more. And if they do answer, just say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Right. Speak, Lord, your servant is listening. I got it. I got to write this down. Since the Lord is very persistent, evidently, he calls Samuel a 4th time. Hello, this is Samuel. I see. Would you mind giving me your number so I can call you back? Oh, okay. Trinity 1 3333. Okay, good. Talk to you soon. Oh. Trinity 1333. That's definitely a local number. It sounds like a phone number that used in a very bad joke that I heard once. It's probably a scam, and they're going to try and sell me a car warranty or accidental death insurance or something. I don't even own a car. Well, Eli said, call them back. So let's see, Trinity, that's a TR1 3333. Is this really you? Oh, sorry. Don't ask questions. Oh, okay. Well, is it okay if I repeat what you say to me to be sure that I heard you? Oh, sorry. That's another question. I just want to say, speak, Lord, your servant is listening. Yes, Lord. Okay. Got it. What was that? Oh, don't use this number again. If you want me, you'll call. Got it. The message God gives to Samuel is mainly bad news for Eli. But what I'm trying to illustrate here is not that Eli has lost his job or that Samuel has been chosen as his successor, but rather the importance of listening. Listening to your mentors, your teachers, and listening, eventually, to the Word of God. Eli, as mentor, tells Samuel the proper way to address the Lord and listen to the message God has for him. So Samuel is not only listening to God in this passage, but he's also listening to his mentor and following his instructions faithfully. Listening is sometimes thought to be just another word for hearing. Hearing is really the physical mechanics of sound reaching the ear and being recorded. So hearing is kind of essential for verbal communication, whether assisted by electronic devices or using alternative means like sign language. And I'm not sure I'm covering all the possible exceptions. Listening involves conscious action on the part of the one hearing, assimilating the words as thoughts and organizing them into existing knowledge. Not just storing a series of words, but understanding their meaning and context. And as best we can, really understanding what the speaker is saying. Listening is an important part of communicating. A little obvious, I suppose. It's not exactly communication if the words are never heard, however they are transmitted, or in hearing the words, changing the meaning into what you would like them to be. Hear what you want to hear by editing out certain parts, either consciously or unconsciously. Half listening, you might say, maybe because you heard it several times before, and maybe it hasn't stuck in yet, or it's stuck in and you discarded it anyway. Sorry, I'm getting dry. You may acknowledge that you hear someone speaking by nodding or whatever, but you didn't really understand what they said. If you don't have to give an appropriate reply, you can sometimes get away with it. You're not really listening. Like, have you turned the dryer back on? And you think, yes, I've turned a dryer back on before at some point in my life. And then not responding properly to the immediate question at hand. Another favorite of mine is, can you watch the potatoes for me? Yes, dear. I watch them burn nicely, and not, not getting complete instructions, but following them to the letter. Samuel had a direct line to God, no distractions, could give God his undivided attention. These days, our attention is nearly always divided. You're watching TV, reading or writing a phone message or browsing stories or shopping for stuff online, and then someone tries to ask you something or tell you something, and you have to ask them to repeat it. Once you turn the volume down or hit pause, the pause button, that is if they're lucky enough to get your attention. Or the person tries to have a conversation from another part of the house. You know they're saying something, but the line is definitely not clear. And on top of that, you're watching TV, reading, writing, or maybe even brushing your teeth. Distractions. Probably the primary reason you don't listen, and we pretend to listen. Oh, you're talking. Oh, you're talking to me. Oh, okay, now you've got my attention. Halfway through the second sentence. So what did you say? Or what? Giving someone your undivided attention is a real gift. It's a gift to the speaker, and it's a gift of the listener. It's almost a lost art. Emptying or clearing your head of current thoughts and distractions to really hear, actively listen to another person. Not thinking of what you're going to say next, so you can move the conversation in your own perceived direction. If you say anything, acknowledge or reaffirm that you heard what the person has said. Restate what you heard in your own words. or at least a sincere nod, which may not be possible or polite if you're listening to a speaker for a large group, but as far as personal communication goes, it works pretty well. There's also listening that involves our other senses. The body has its own language as people speak. We are tuned pretty well to human facial expression as the person speaks. We sense their sincerity or honesty at an almost, if not entirely, unconscious level. Their posture and mechanism contribute to our thought processes as we speak, or as they speak. Not something you get while talking on the phone, of course, a regular phone, not FaceTiming or using some other camera application. But until recently, we seldom even saw the person's face below the eyes, and thanks to our protective masks. So we had only part of the speaker's face for it, for a clue, and lip reading was just not possible. As an illustration of body language, a classic example, it is nearly ancient history now, the Kennedy-Nixon presidential debates. Specifically the first one, there were 4. It was the first time such an event was put on live television. They prepared their facts and figures to respond to all the questions. The debate was also aired on radio stations. Polls of people who only heard the debate thought that Nixon did a better job of answering. But those who viewed the debate thought that Kennedy was the clear winner. Kennedy looked and sounded cool and collected. Nixon looked extremely nervous, and his choice of makeup and clothing made it even worse. Just a tipping point in a very close race, but that's a whole another story. Take a break. I was not intending to steer this into politics. But these days, these times, it's nearly impossible to keep it out of my thoughts. And it's not even politics. It's like politics is like a child's game compared to what's currently happening in civilization. We are all hearing the news from around the world almost instantaneously. And not all have the opportunity of hearing it. And certainly not all are really listening. It's hard, it's overwhelming, and totally, at least for most of us, totally out of our control. I can only hope that when that call is made, that someone is there who really knows how to be a servant and knows how to listen. And even more, knows how to pass that word along to the people that really need to listen and take appropriate action. The word of the Lord.